It's time for our weekly arts and culture segment. Joining me in the studio is our culture correspondent, Song Yoo-jin. Good to have you here, Yoo-jin.
Great to be back here, Jung-min.
So what do you have for us today?
Well, Jung-min, Wednesday not only marked President Yoon Suk Yeol taking 1 year in office, it also marked the 1-year anniversary of Cheong Wa Dae, also known as the Blue House, being fully open to the public. Now, back in 2017, during the previous Moon Jae-in administration, the road in front of Cheong Wa Dae was opened up, and then President Yoon Suk Yeol, as part of his campaign pledge, promised to return Cheong Wa Dae to the people by moving the presidential office to Yongsan. And since then, Cheong Wa Dae has really become an emerging tourist destination, with millions having visited over the past year. And a lot of cultural programs took place last year as well. For example, an exhibition displaying the works of artists with disabilities. So for this year, to mark the 1-year anniversary of Cheong Wa Dae opening to the public, I took a look around Cheong Wa Dae and looked into its past, present, and future. It's been a year since the Blue House opened its doors to the public. The former presidential office is now a cultural landmark. Cheong Wa Dae had a long history before serving Korean presidents, stretching all the way back to the 12th century and the Goryeo dynasty.
The Cheong Wa Dae area was part of Namgyong, one of the 3 administrative districts of Goryeo. It became the back garden of Gyeongbokgung Palace during the Joseon dynasty. During the Japanese colonial period, it was where the Japanese Government General of Korea was located.
Since the establishment of the Korean government in 1948, 12 presidents from Lee Seung-man to Moon Jae-in have called Cheong Wa Dae their home and office. Before opening to the public on May 10, 2022, the area was closed off for security reasons, offering tours from time to time. So a year has passed since Cheong Wa Dae first opened to the public, and as you can see, this area is still bustling with a lot of visitors here to take a look into the former presidential office.
I came here when I was in high school, but back then I couldn't go inside the buildings. Now I can really feel that Cheong Wa Dae has returned to the public.
The building itself represents a whole authority, and it represents also something, I think, much bigger than just Seoul. Since it was the presidential palace for many presidents to come, and I think that's why it's a must-see place.
More than 3.4 million people have visited so far, more than 1 million the number of visitors last year, to the 4 main royal palaces in Seoul combined. The Culture Ministry now aims to make Cheong Wa Dae one of the country's most prominent landmarks. One expert advises integrating history with the latest trends.
Instead of simply showcasing Cheong Wa Dae's history, we should create trendy cultural content and tour programs. Cheong Wa Dae could be the center of a new tourism cluster, as it's located near popular tourist spots like the National Folk Museum, Bukchon Hanok Village, and Gyeongbokgung Palace.
Cheong Wa Dae has exciting plans for the remainder of the year, including exhibitions, tour programs, outdoor music concerts, and a festival for artists with disabilities.
So Yoo-jin, how was your trip to Cheong Wa Dae this week?
Well, Jung-min, first of all, I actually never taken a look around Cheong Wa Dae, so it was my very first time. And my overall first impression was it was really interesting and kind of healing to see all the fancy buildings being surrounded by the picturesque scenery in the central Seoul. And that's because more than 50,000 trees of over 200 species are currently planted in the Cheong Wa Dae area. But of all, what caught my attention most was how packed the area was. I originally expected a small number of visitors to visit the area because already a year had passed since Cheong Wa Dae opened up, and also our team visited the spot on a weekday morning. But people of all generations, both locals and travelers, were lined up in front of the main gate. And this is kind of like a behind-the-scenes story, but our camera journalist actually visited Cheong Wa Dae a couple of times last year after it opened to the public, and he said it was always packed with people, but this time was actually the busiest one he's seen.
Right, probably after the COVID pandemic. And what programs does this unique place have to offer this year?
Well, first of all, on Wednesday, it was the one-year anniversary date. A celebratory concert took place outdoors at Cheong Wa Dae. It was attended by President Yoon Suk Yeol and First Lady Kim Gon-hee. And to talk about the programs that will take place this month, opera, Korean traditional dance, music performances, and a tour program where participants can take a stroll around the Cheong Wa Dae area while wearing the Korean traditional clothing hanbok will take place. And early next month, an exhibition displaying the lifestyles of former Korean presidents will be held at the main building of Cheong Wa Dae. So overall, there are a lot more programs scheduled this year. So a lot to look forward to Cheong Wa Dae this year and the years to come as well.
Indeed. Thanks for the reporting, Yoo-jin.
My pleasure.